Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Saints game day. This is the Saints Insider pregame show for Week 5, Saints at Patriots. Luke Johnson, Zach Ewing, live here inside Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, for what is, as far as Week 5 games go, it feels like a pretty crucial game for this early in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. The Saints are in kind of a desperate situation here after their offense has really just played poorly in a couple consecutive weeks, really all season. Right. But last week, it felt like rock bottom. I had somebody this week in the locker room tell me it was rock bottom for this team. And they really need to get something going offensively today to kind of feel good about where they're at right now.
Everything felt okay. You know, you blow the lead at Green Bay, but that happens. It's the NFL. You lose close games, lost Derek Carr. Last week was the eye-opener, a 26-9 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Superdome. And that's the one where you go, man, what is wrong with this team?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where you start seeing these numbers that we've kind of brought up a lot this week, just kind of the offensive failings around the board. They've got 4 touchdowns this season in 4 games, 4 offensive touchdowns, that is. They're 4 for 12 in the red zone. They're completing 40% of their passes in the red zone. They've gone 10 straight games at 21 points or less. This is where you start going, hey, something's really wrong with this offense. And this is where we've talked all week, where you need to get something going now. Like this can't be like a slow build here. This has got to be flip the switch, figure out how to get your really good offensive weapons going. I mean, they're going up against a tough defense today, but people are not going to be happy even if they win this game, if they come back and they're scoring less than 20 points again. They're way too talented offensively to keep doing this.
What do you think happens if the Saints do lose in another dreary performance? Is this the week that heads start to roll a little bit?
Well, I don't know. I think we got to be on the lookout for it, right? And because we've asked Dennis Allen, we've asked people within the organization a lot about Pete Carmichael in the last 12 months. And I understand the loyalty from the organization standpoint. He's been here since 2006. There's a lot of trust in Pete, but like at some point, the results got to start mattering here. When you go as many weeks as they have saying we got to be better, it's on us to fix it, and it doesn't get fixed. Well, there needs to be some action.
Yeah, it's on you, as you said on our Saints Insider podcast on Wednesday. So Saints and Patriots, it's at noon Central Time, 1 o'clock here in New England on CBS. Patriots are favored by 1.5 points. They did lose a couple of key defenders, Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez, a pass rusher and a cornerback, both out for this game. So maybe some opportunities for the Saints. And what we've said, I mean, they've really got to show that there's some change. I think we could see some aggressive play calling. You almost have to worry, do they get too aggressive? Do they get out of character here? Because I think they realize something needs to change.
Well, I think the thing that I want to see is can they stay aggressive with their play calling after that opening script is done, right? Because we saw the script last week. I thought was pretty solid. Like there was some creative play calling in there. Yeah, they were getting the ball to guys in space. Yeah, obviously that not all of it worked. The little like reverse pop pass to Alvin Kamara was a big dud that killed the drive. But his first few drives looked good, and then after that, it really tailed off. So like, yes, I want to see him be more aggressive today, but I want to see it beyond the first quarter. I want to see them do some stuff in the third and fourth quarter that you can look back on and feel really good about where this offense is. Because, again, we're going to keep saying it over and over and over again. They have way too much offensive talent to be this bad on offense. They got to get it going.
Pete Carmichael reminds me of a driver who will go into the fast lane to pass somebody, but then can't wait to get back into the slow lane a little bit. And he's got to keep that foot on the gas a little.
Yeah, I think so. And look, yeah, I think that's on Derek Carr too, right? I think he needs to take advantage of some of these skill players that he has, right? I think last week we saw way too many passes at or behind the line of scrimmage or within 5 yards of it. He can't be averaging 0.4 air yards per completion here.
No,
right?
No.
And even though I think the Patriots defense is still really good, they are missing probably their 2 best players on their entire roster, not just on their defense, and Christian Gonzalez and Matthew Judon. Take advantage of that. Yeah. Belichick is really good at covering up for that sort of things. He's good at as Derek Carr said, making you play left-handed. But like at some point, you got to put it in your own hands, and Derek's got to push the ball downfield a little bit. They got to use the middle of the field. I would like to see him use some play action today. Maybe try to free some guys up by putting them in motion a little bit like we saw in week 1. There's a lot of different things they can do, but it's on Pete and it's on Derek Carr too.
Dallas Cowboys scored 38 points on this team last week, so it can be done by a good team.
2 defensive touchdowns.
2 defensive touchdowns, sure, but we haven't seen that from the defense yet either. I mean, maybe this is the week. So a couple of news and notes items. Tony Jones Jr. was waived, and you talk about 4 touchdowns in 4 games. He's got half of them, and they just waived that guy. But they do have Alvin Kamara, they do have Kendra Miller, and they expect Jamal Williams back in a couple of weeks. And you saw some good news out here just looking at the Saints warm up.
Yeah. I was actually not feeling very good about James Hurst's chances today, because usually when a guy gets injured in practice on a Friday and is questionable, that's never good for Sunday. It's not a good outlook. We saw James Hurst out here warming up. He might be somewhere behind us, actually. It's not a sure sign that he'll play, but it is a good sign to me. He's
trying.
He's at least testing it out. He was out here with everybody else who's going to be playing today with like Alvin Kamara and Derek Carr. So we'll see. But I think if they're missing him and Andres Pede, it starts to get a little bit dicey on the depth of our front up there.
And it's hard to be aggressive on offense if your offensive line is not at least passable.
You just have to be creative. We said in the podcast, I think maybe earlier this week, you see teams with injuries on offensive line still put up points. They just have to scheme their way around it. It's the one thing we haven't seen the Saints be able to do this year: scheme around their deficiencies.
All right, in about 3 hours after this game, the Saints will either be 3-2 or they will be 2-3, or could be 2-1. We don't want to discount that possibility.
Don't discount the possibility of a 4-4 tie.
That's right. But we will join you on the Saints Insider post-game show either way within half an hour of the game ending right here on these same channels, the Saints on NOLA.com YouTube channel, our NOLA.com Facebook page, all of that good stuff. Keep it locked to NOLA.com. You see Luke's work. Also, Jeff Duncan is here with us upstairs. So we'll be back with you on the Saints Insider postgame show. Until then, he's Luke Johnson. I'm Zach Ewing. This has been the Saints Insider pregame live from Gillette Stadium.
And we're going to eat some New England clam chowder.
Let's go get some.